What is up, guys? So last patch I tried the biggest nerfs and buffs and you seem to like it, so we're going to stick with that format, but I want to go more this time into what the changes mean rather than just what they are. Like this video if you did, dislike it if you didn't, but let's get on with it. So we're going to start with the bot lane. There have been a few changes here this patch. First one, Alistar has had his heal nerfed. Main reason most likely is because people were taking wind speakers on him for the keystone and buffing that heal even more, which wasn't really what Alistar is about. He is still going to be really good for his playmaking potential, but you don't have as much safety now to just sit back and heal up if it goes wrong. The other side for supports is Janna got hit this patch too. The bonus AD on the shield is down, and when she ults and pushes you back, you aren't disabled for as long. Now both of these individually are kind of small, but the two together really mean that Soraka, Blitzcrank, and probably even Leona are going to come back into the meta a lot. Soraka is just so hard to deal with. She can sit back and spam heal all day. If you want to have a heal in your kit, then Soraka should be your first choice. This is where aggressive supports come in. They come to counter Janna, who's a bit weaker now, and Soraka, who is more popular. And with Alistar kind of getting pushed out, Blitz and Leona are going to be most likely the go-to supports for that now. It's also partly because of this change. Kalista is going to be weaker this patch. She's still really good in lane. She actually has more attack speed near her Oathsworn now, so it's kind of a buff in a way, but the problem is in most solo queue games, your support will start to roam around and they aren't near you a lot of the time mid-game. That is where you're going to feel it. You can't 1v1 as well. I mean, at high-low or competitive, maybe you can play around that a lot, but in normal solo queue, in most of our games, your support is going to leave a lot and it will hurt your damage. Kalista was the best champion in lane. She bullied a lot of AD carries and supports as well, so if she's going to be played less, which I think she will be, then it opens up other picks as well. Like Vayne, Jinx, Ashe, Tristana are really good tank killers, right? They're kind of weak in lane, but they're really good at killing tanks, which is what we're moving to, and Sivir even is going to be better because they can all survive the lane phase a bit more now. This is kind of though where aggressive supports come back in to bully these guys and try to punish their weak lane phase. So next up, some random buffs, Cho'Gath and Echo. I've grouped them together because I don't think they needed buffs at all. They're both strong, just underplayed. Now this is a classic case of let's slowly buff a champion until they're too strong and everyone realizes and everyone starts to play them. It's super weird, but Cho is a great lane counter to a lot of champions, and this feast change will help more if he's behind than anything else. The Echo buffs will increase his mobility a bit more early, which will help. That's the weakest phase for Echo when he has no items and can get blown up. I think both of these are actually super strong right now. Cho'Gath more kind of mid lane and Echo more kind of in the jungle. So let's move up to the top lane now. There have been a few changes here. First up, Fiora nerfs. Thank God for that. I think everyone is going to be a little bit happy about that unless you played Fiora. The biggest problem with Fiora is she could build tanky kind of and still do so much damage. You really should have to make a choice between damage and split push or semi-tanky to team fight. These changes are lowering her damage plus her chase potential, but her scaling kicks in earlier now, so if she builds full AD, she'll do more with it early. So she will be weaker, but what does that even mean for the actual game? Basically, Poppy is back to being overpowered. Not so much because she's been changed, even though it kind of is her kit and damage that are so strong, but the other alternatives have been shut down like Fiora and Nautilus, which makes her better in comparison. We are moving kind of into a tanky meta. Tanks with damage is where we are right now, and this other buff to Maokai also fits in. It's so odd that he's never had magic resist per level. I've never understood it, but he's finally got it, and remember, he used to be one of the top tier tanks top lane. He is very similar to Poppy in a way. He does well in lane, he has good damage, can build very similar to her like Sunfire into Iceborne, and I think personally he'll compete with her for the top spots. Throw in Sion, who just got a new legendary skin on the PBE, so he will be played more, and those three are all tanky, really good, but do damage and fit this meta. Now I want to mention this very quickly. This Lux nerf is not as big as people thought. It's actually a buff for team fights, believe it or not. If you hit an ally with both parts, then the shield stacks, which is crazy. This is aimed at punishing her when she's alone, just beating on her and giving her less safety in lane. So you put her behind there and it's easier to manage. We're going to have to see if this works. The problem is this requires the person she's playing against to be proactive, to actually beat her in lane. If they don't, then she'll in theory be even stronger in a team fight. So the last of the champion changes are to junglers. Nidalee, Master Yi, and Shyvana are all getting nerfed. After talking to a lot of junglers, they seem to think that they'll still be elo to clear if they get a stronger leash at the start. So if that's true, then Nidalee will still be fine. It's going to be harder to clear like that at lower ranks, so you'll probably find that lower elo Nidalee is worse off, but higher elo one is about the same. Master Yi is hard to tell because the build at the moment that is strong is just tanky, right? Like Devourer, Titanic Hydra, Ginzu's Deadmans. Now building that is going to be worse, and you probably don't want to do that because your E will do less damage as bonus AD, not total anymore. The thing is, I don't know how much like his E actually contributed to his damage. Like honestly, I don't think it will make much of a difference. You'll probably end up doing more damage if you play full AD E, which is what we might see more. At least the thing we know now is that if he does build tanky, he won't kill us as fast. So you have to make a choice between full AD assassin Yi, like split pushing and stuff, or off tank Yi. Finally, Shyvana. This is a nerf to her burst, but like come on, really, like that's not the issue with her at all. They reverted the W change, which I talked about in my PBE video, so that didn't go to live. Her clear speed is still amazing. She scales so well, and I still think she's going to be really good. There are a couple of item changes that I want to quickly mention. So Runic Echoes is getting 20 AP knocked off it. That's 25% of the AP it had, by the way, so pretty big actually. This is most likely going to hurt like Udyr and Nidalee a lot, plus obviously any other AP jungler that wanted to build that anyway. The final thing you should know is a change to ZZ Rot Portal. The armor and magic resist is slightly down, but the portal itself is easier to deal with. It takes 5 hits to kill now, like a pink ward, instead of having health, so it's easier to destroy it, especially for like supports and tanks. This is actually a kind of nice change. It will make it a bit easier to deal with and destroy the portals to shut it down, but really it's still such an annoying item and people are still going to build it. Anyways, that wraps up basically everything you need to know in patch 6.6. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and let's go to the robots to finish this off.